Hello, Oracles. Oh my goodness. What a day we had today. We are up over 6% on the day. We've got the production and delivery numbers coming out this Sunday. And as expected, we talked about it earlier in the week. I kind of expected a bit of a run up into the end of the week. The first 2 days were questionable, but we've now seen that run. And we're going to take a look at the charts. I mean, literally hitting right at that 207 mark, which has been a resistance level for us. So I think this weekend, and you guys are probably going to agree that this weekend's numbers are going to either break us out even further. Maybe we break above that 213 level on Monday, or we're going to come back down again. We've actually got some very good bullish news coming out, even in the macro environment. So we'll discuss a lot about that tonight. Raymond, what's going on? Soggy Toronto. Yeah. So I'm supposed to be taking my son and his friend to the Yankee game tomorrow. And that rain that's going through Toronto, which is also in the Midwest, is going to be coming through tomorrow. So it could end up raining the game out. We're not sure yet. So we will end up taking a look and see on that. Moose, soggy England. Isn't it always soggy in England? It's either soggy or foggy. Let's see. Let's take a quick look at the charts while everybody's rolling in here. So let's see. Oh, I gotta show you guys too. I can't just look at it by myself. Let's see here. Boom, 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 boom. All right, here we go. So we've got this confirmed breakout. Angry Baldman. Yeah, careful out there. I know in the Midwest there's a lot of tornadoes going through. So any of you guys who are out there, please stay safe. Hey Marty, happy Friday. Yeah, so looking at the charts, official breakout. So we've definitely broken out. I know we were consolidating here, and like we were talking about, I thought maybe we would see the breakout or breakdown on Monday. We saw it today. We saw the breakout coming today, came out of this, but we crossed that 200 relatively earlier in the day, and then that 207 right here. So I've got this line drawn. You guys have seen it forever. And 207, we just slammed right against that, and that's where we stopped. So again, I think the numbers this weekend are going to determine whether we hit 213 to 221 or higher, and then go from there. And again, RSI is at 63, so we have room to move up. We definitely do, and we saw some decent volume today at 169 million shares trading hands, which is higher than we have been seeing a lot of recently. So lots of good signs pointing to us going up. So looking at the numbers here, you guys are already throwing these numbers out here. Yeah, so Angry Baldman seems like Troy is at 427. Karav is at 432. I know Karav bumped his production numbers up, I think, today. If I can find them, I'll throw those charts up there. Production to 447. My number's at 437 for deliveries. I may be a bit high, but I know the consensus estimate, I believe, is 421 is what I had seen. I think it was 421 or 422 for consensus. And Warren at 450. I mean, we know Warren is very bullish. So 450 is definitely on the higher end, but it is possible. Oh, let's see. Eric, can't wait to see the stock drops Monday. I mean, I agree. You guys know that I'm very bullish, but I would love to be able to buy for cheaper. When you look out 10 years, this price right now does not matter. So for me, it's just about, I'm a smaller guy and just want to buy more shares for less. That's all. Kenneth, what's going on in Wyoming over there? Karav, Warren's crazy. I mean, he is definitely very bullish, but I mean, in the long term, I think Warren's going to end up being at least somewhat right. Maybe not as bullish as he's saying it's out to be, but I think his sentiment of being bullish is in the right path. Kind of hoping the stop does drop a bit Monday. So I'm curious about Monday because I'm assuming if we're going to beat expectations, we're going to go up. I don't think today was going to be a fake out of any sort where, it's going to be a sell the news situation. I don't think that's going to happen. Remember the last couple of quarters, we've come right just in line with expectations. Actually, last quarter, we missed expectations. And I don't know. I honestly don't know how the stock is going to react. I think if we end up crossing 430, if we cross 440 for deliveries, it'll take off. That'll show a lot of things. And I think at this point now, the margins are a bigger concern for people just because if they do end up selling 430,000 vehicles, let's say, what are the margins on that? Because there's going to be the discrepancy. If Tesla hit 430,000 deliveries, but they only have margins of 18%, that's concerning. The market's not going to like that. But if they hit 430,000 deliveries and that beats expectations and margins are at like 24 or 25%, that's going to be big. John P. 220 Monday. It's possible that 221 line that I've got drawn there, that resistance, we could be testing that Monday for sure. Marty could be the last sub 200 day ever. No. I'll dive into that in a minute from the macro standpoint. But we will come back under $200. Obviously, I cannot guarantee that. I don't have a crystal ball, but just knowing what the market's looking at, we'll come back under $200. Hey, what's going on, Sith Lord? Oh, it's snowing in Wyoming. Wow. Yeah, it was cold here in Connecticut. I mean, springs are wild. I know they are in the Midwest as well. But like tomorrow's going to be almost 70 and raining today. I mean, we had some snow yesterday. It's wild. Krav, I have a feeling my estimate of 432,000 most likely lower than the actual number than higher. Europe inventory is only listing. Oh wow, only 750 listings. Dang, that's a lot. And I know China already started their exports, so China has started exporting already. So they're already starting to get ready for Q2. And then I don't know if you guys heard, but Elon is heading to China. So we know that China has said that there's some cyber vault announcement coming on Monday, which that in itself could also cause the stock to jump depending on what they're going to be announcing. Maybe that's the announcement of the Megapack factory. I don't know. But Cyber Vault, I don't know. I mean, we just saw Giga Beer coming out. Obviously, this is going to be the year of the Cybertruck. Tesla's going to be pushing the Cybertruck worldwide in many different facets. So we've got Giga Beer coming out over in Europe, and the Giga Beer over there, the bottle is shaped like the Cybertruck. We've got Giga Vault stuff coming out on Monday in China. Elon's going to China, so I have a feeling the China thing is big because Elon hasn't been over to China since before COVID. So there could be something big going on over there. Karav, the funniest part of my day was when a Tesla Q member told me Q1 EPS will be 10 cents. Right. Like, how? 242 on Monday. If we get good delivery numbers and great surprise news out of China, we could push that. Yeah, freezing rain in Boston. Meh. Yuck. No bueno. Yeah, energy factory in China. I have a feeling that's what it's going to be. I think that's what we're going to be hearing on Monday. We heard the rumors about it just yesterday, so I have a feeling we're going to be hearing about the Megapack factory. Ooh, that's a good question. Sith Lord, if you put down 50K on a Roadster 5 years ago and it hasn't arrived yet, would you be pissed? First off, a couple of things. One, if I had that kind of money to put down on a Roadster, I don't know. I mean, obviously, I've got different standards and a different style of living if I have that kind of money. So, sure, I'd be pissed. And then also considering that if I had put that money into the stock instead, I could have bought 5 Roadsters. So, I don't know. But at least from the standpoint from Tesla, they've been open about it. We know that they had delays. We were supposed to see Roadster, Semi, and Cybertruck all basically at the same time. They all got delayed. And now they've been open saying that Roadster is not a priority. So, I mean, they're open with communication. I don't know if they're taking care of people if they want to cancel, but yeah, that's definitely a tough one. Oh, Raymond, Elon may be meeting the new Chinese premier, so could be some good news like Supercharger or Megapack Factory. Yeah, I have a feeling just because the rumors that we got out of the for Megapack Factory stuff, I have a feeling that's what it's going to be. And Michael Romero, oh yeah, the options side of the market is important to pay attention to. Options side of the market is pricing Tesla up next week. Let's hope so. I think so. I think we're going to be there. Yeah, good news for lithium miners. So one of the things I paid attention to is I've got SLI as my lithium play, and I think lithium's obviously going to be vital in the future. But seeing lithium prices crashing down right now, it's great for Tesla because their costs are going to come down. It's going to be great for the EV revolution because costs for everyone, at least for lithium, is going to come down. Um, but anybody who's holding lithium stock is not doing well right now. Marty, forget that. The next split will push the stock under 200. That is true. That will do it as well, but I don't think we're going to get that split until 2025. When's the call? Which call? The earnings call? Earnings call is April. I've got to take a look at the calendar. If you guys happen to know it, I think it's the third Wednesday in April. I could be wrong, but it's going to be on a Wednesday. I think it's the third Wednesday in April, though. $300 Monday, Canadian dollars. Felipe Cruz, hi dear Tim. What about Mexico? When will Tesla start producing? That will be based upon what Tom Ju had told us. He wants them to start breaking ground in the next 3 months, have the factory built in 9, and then start production after that. So if everything goes to that plan, we will end up seeing the factory up and running and starting production basically around this time next year, and then we would see volume production coming out of there either end of 2024 or beginning of 2025. And that is based upon Tom Ju's plans. So we will see if that plays out. Yeah, May or June is when they want to start construction. That's when they want to start breaking ground. So we'll see if that actually happens. I have a feeling it's going to be more like July, but Mexico's right on board with it. So it doesn't seem like we're going to get roadblocks. I have a feeling it's going to be produced and constructed very much like Shanghai and very much not like Berlin. Yes, thank you. Yep. April 20 or April 19th is going to be the earnings call. Thank you. Breaking ground on May 5th. It'd probably be May 4th, Star Wars fan. May the 4th be with you. Let me see. Lang, but prices of Powerwall in Australia keep going up. Demand is great for Powerwall. So my thought was I thought we would see a Megapack factory in Australia, but realistically, if they're already exporting from Shanghai to Australia for the vehicles, why not just throw Megapacks and Powerwalls onto the same shipping containers that you're sending the vehicles on over to Australia and just do it that way? Because the production in Shanghai is going to be faster to get up and running than trying to build a whole new factory in Australia. So that would make sense. So I think we're going to see Megapacks and Powerwalls coming out of Shanghai, and those will get shipped to Australia because the demand is so high there. Chadwick, what's going on? Yes, it was a very great day today. Over 6% up. I'm loving it. Lang, no new gigafactories in Thailand or Indonesia or Korea news. Nickel factory in Indonesia. Yeah, that I mean, Tom already said we're going to hear about another factory. I strongly believe it's going to be in the Asia Pacific region. I would love to see Indonesia. I think we're going to hear about it probably in the next 3 to 4 months, maybe even on the Q2 earnings call, maybe before then. I don't know. But I think that they're going to have, it'll be very similar to Berlin and Austin, where they were basically being constructed simultaneously. We know that obviously Berlin got held up, so they basically started production nearly the same time. But it may end up being very similar in this situation with two factories on two different parts of the world going up at the same time. So some of the macro stuff that I was hearing about, um, the S&P for the first time in a long time hit was positive 2 quarters in a row. And for over the last 50 years, every time that has happened, it has not happened in a bear market. So Looking at that information, looking at the information that Adam and I had discussed about the Fed pivoting and pausing, if the Fed is giving us the inclination that they are going to be pausing, with the PCE data that we got in today, looking like we could potentially see maybe a recession coming with consumer spending going down, what I'm looking at is the Fed pauses. We get that bull run that comes when the Fed has been pausing historically. That there indicates, hey, yes, we're going to see this run in Tesla stock. We're going to see a run in the market. We could push up to all time highs. And seeing all of this running, then we're going to get to that recession. When we get to that recession, that's when the Fed pivots. They're going to see, ooh, we have this data. And you have to remember, everything is lagging. So by the time, like, the Fed rates still haven't all fully kicked in yet. Fed rates fully kick in, that really starts hitting the economy even harder later on down the road. But we've been on this bull run on the way to that point. Then we hit that breaking point where all of a sudden we hit, oh, rates are now too high, the market starts to pull back, we start to see that recession. That's when the Fed ends up pivoting, but we're already going downward into that recession and everything just lags from there. I have a feeling that's what we may end up seeing. So we could see a nice run, maybe for a little while. We could see a nice run. There's obviously going to be ups and downs. It's never straight up, but we could see this bit of a run. And then going back to that point of us pulling below 200, we hit that recession, we end up pulling down, and it might not be until next year that we go under 200 again. Lots of unknowns. Obviously, if we end up missing expectations on Sunday, we could very well end up falling under 200 on Monday again. But looking at the way the economy is looking, how historically we have moved, I think that's going to be what happens. Good evening, David. How are you? Felipe, do you think the 50% grow year over year is a solid minimum? Can they achieve more than 50%? So the 50%, just for clarification for you guys, is it was based upon, I think, at the end of or 2020, from 2020 to 2030 was just an average of 50%. So some years are going to hit 50, some years are going to hit lower, some higher. We've hit higher already. So based upon the numbers that we had seen most recently, and Karav or anybody else who's out there, I don't know if you guys know specifically. Last I knew, when I was talking to James Stevenson, Tesla needs to come in at 40% year over year from here until 2030 to still achieve that 50% year over year growth average. So I still think that it is totally achievable for sure, especially coming out with the next gen vehicle at volume 2024 to 2025. That's going to bump up volume significantly. And seeing as if we end up seeing a slower year in 2024, just because we get into tougher economic times, hitting 50% year over year after that with a compact car or a less expensive car, totally viable. Q1 number, I think production is going to be 443, and we are going to see deliveries at 437. It'll be pretty close. My push number for production is 444. 444, 444. That's it. Good night, Moose. Yeah, I know it's late over there across the pond. Hanif, hopefully new Gigafactory will be built in Canada so Tesla gets funding from the Fed's IRA by building in North America via free trade agreements. I mean, that's why they built Mexico, and I think the problem is Canada was going to end up providing a lot of red tape like Berlin, and Mexico's not. Mexico's basically like, all right, come on in, just build. No rules, no regulations. You're going to use the least amount of water out of every factory ever. So go ahead, have at it. So I think that that's why they chose Mexico, and they're still going to get the credit from the IRA. Tesla already yesterday spoke about partnering up with CATL to put a battery factory up in Texas. So obviously that Tesla loves the logistics, keeping all of the materials and components very close to the factories, shorter to transport. Totally going to see that happen. And then because they're doing that with the batteries, that's going to end up giving them even more of the EV tax credit. Based upon the information we heard, sounds like by doing so, the Model 3, which doesn't fully qualify for the EV tax credit, would end up doing so with that battery factory coming up. Correct. Giga Berlin production will 5x in 2023. That's true. And Austin will probably end up doing the same. Dominic, you got the Giga beer. Oh, I wanted to try it so bad. You'll have to let us know how it is. Because I love the bottle. First off, for you guys who don't know, in college I did my senior thesis on the history of beer, so it was quite a legendary project. But it was awesome, and I tried beers from all over the world. So I definitely love me some beer. So some of the bottles I got were pretty awesome. I would love that bottle. So if I ever have my chance, I'll go grab one. Mm-mm. Timothy West. Hey, Tim, what year do you think Tesla will split again and pay a dividend? I think they will split again in 2025. I think at that point, it'll either be 2025 or 2026. Depends on how long it takes for the macro to come out of the difficult times that I think we will see. I could be wrong. Maybe we don't end up hitting them. But if we hit the recession in 2024, we'll probably start coming out of it 2025 ish. So either then or 2026 will split. Dividend, I didn't think they would ever do it. And even now, I'm questionable on it. But the fact that they actually had mentioned it at Investor Day, I don't know if they had mentioned it just as a teaser to maybe get some more institutional investors to come in, hoping that they'll do dividends in the future. Doesn't sound like it's something Elon wants to do. Buybacks for sure. Dividends, don't know. Personally, I don't think they would end up doing a dividend at all until we get probably Optimus up and running, which could be 2030 to 2035. Once that's going and we see where that's at, maybe we see a dividend at that point. Before then, I don't foresee it. Marty, China is about to punt legacy auto and Chinese gas car producing companies. Yeah, China, Sandy Munro has been saying it all along too. China is going to be the big player. The thing that we don't see here in the US, and you guys from around the world can share your input because I don't know what you guys see in the news. Here in the US, we portray China as poor quality production. They produce crap. Nobody wants anything that's made in China because it's just cheap and they're technologically behind us. When we start looking at things like EVs and renewable energy, they're actually ahead of us here in the US. So we could call it propaganda and the US trying to, not show us what China is really capable of because we want to keep that vision of them being, almost a third world country-ish, which they're not. So I don't know how China is portrayed in other areas of the world. So if you guys have any input from that, from what you guys see, please share. I'm really just curious to see how they're portrayed everywhere else. Felipe, Q1 results. We will know production and delivery on Sunday morning. I will be on with Brian over at my Tesla weekend. So if you guys want to check us out there, sometime it depends. Like Eastern time, I think they did it around 10 or 11 Eastern time last quarter. So it's mid to late morning. But he and I will be on for a couple of hours while we're waiting to see it drop. And then the earnings will be April 19th after hours. Lang, I'm still at 12% loss on Tesla, starting buying last May, almost down daily small amounts. It's actually very similar to me. So I buy at daily small amounts and I'm down about 8%. So my cost basis right now is 226.23. So you've got to be pretty close to me because I think I'm down like 7 or 8% right now. Raymond, BYD announced sodium ion batteries while CATL has a new LFP enhanced called M3P. Yeah, I saw that. Not a lot of recent 4680 progress. Hope Tesla can give update. So I think the thing is, the 4680 is going to be big from the form factor standpoint. And then the M3P I saw, and I have a feeling that M3P might be what they end up using in the next gen. Because if CATL is doing that and Tesla is going to be partnering up with them to put up a battery factory in Texas, having that being able to supply both Austin and Mexico with those batteries, especially if they're going to be putting in the next gen, you've got the battery factory in Texas, and then you're going to end up having the vehicle factory going to be down in Mexico, very close by. So I have a feeling we're going to see those batteries going in there. Let's see. Dominic, this is a good question. What percentage of car sales by 2030 do you think Tesla will have? 15 to 20%. Um, I think they're going to be minimum 10%. And I think 10 to 15 for sure, possibly 20. I think a lot of that's going to depend on how legacy auto ends up getting through the next decade, because if they can survive, then they have a chance of actually making a dent. If not, they may end up merging or going under entirely. I think China's going to make up all of theirs combined will end up making up probably 20 to 25% of the market total between all of them. And then Tesla will have probably like 15% or so, I think. Thank you, Eric. Yes, smash that like button. Let's see, what else do we have here? Yeah, Jerry, I agree. Mega Pack Factory in China would be bullish, very bullish. And so if we get if we get a beat on deliveries, a beat on production, and Mega Pack Factory announced in China on Monday, could be a very big Monday. Just going through your comments here. Yep, Marty, you're right. China will replace Japan as the world's biggest automotive country. They've been prepping this change for over a decade. They have. And that's something that, again, looking at the solar fields that they have over in China, they're way ahead of where we are in the US. So they've been getting ready for this. And you're absolutely right. Um, and Cindy Monroe had mentioned it as well. We had the Japanese invasion coming in the 70s. We're going to see China. I mean, they already have, NEO has an office in California. So they're starting to dip their toes here in the US, and they're starting to go around the world. I mean, China's hasn't even started going global yet. So they're going to be out there for sure. What legacy auto do you think will be around in 2030? I think Ford will be around. Um, GM's a tough one. It, I think the thing with GM is they've got governmental support. And if we end up getting into a deep recession, they could be arguing stuff about unions and may end up having unions getting stronger to help the workers, which is total BS, in my opinion, at least from their standpoint. Because from what we have seen, based upon the numbers, Tesla treats their employees better and pays them better than Legacy Auto does with the union. So, yeah, I don't know if GM is going to make it. And I think we may end up seeing mergers going on. GM might make it if they spend money and buy another company, but that'll just put them deeper into debt. Daimler, I don't know if they're going to make it. VW might, just because they're so big, they have a chance of getting through. Toyota, I have gotten enough inside information to know that Toyota's going to be in rough shape. They may be the ones that fall off the cliff the fastest and the hardest. Miguel, let's see. This market will be a bull until the summer. By summer, with all the money injected, this will spike inflation, will be a downturn. So summer's when you're calling it. I think you're right. I think we're going to see a bull run for a while. I don't know how long we'll see it for. But then I think we're going to go in the almost complete opposite direction after that and pull down significantly. Do you think Tesla should get into F1? I would love to see that. But the thing with F1 is a lot of it's, well, I guess Le Mans is more about the long distance stuff. So I don't know. I think it'd be awesome. Just thinking about the torque that you have with an electric vehicle makes a lot of sense to get into it. Maybe that's something the Roadster can get into when that comes out finally in 2026. But yeah. SAR, can we see stock to Tesla to 300? We can. Obviously, we're going to see it eventually. I think we have a chance of seeing 300 before the end of the year. I still have a price target of 247 for the end of this year, but that is all based upon macro. So personally, I think we could be anywhere from 200 to 400 at the end of the year, and it all depends on when we make that turn. Miguel, you're right. By 2030, Tesla auto sales will be a spec compared to Optimus and FSD, and even energy. I think energy revenue coming in by 2030 might even be more than auto sales. I don't know about Optimus at that point. Might take a little bit longer, but Optimus I think is going to take off very quickly, and FSD for sure. Karam, I love this. Every like is a dollar up on the stock. Do it. Give me those likes. I love it. Yeah, Raymond. By 2030, Tesla could dominate working robots. So they're going to dominate the working robots, and then what's also going to end up happening is the thing that a lot of people don't factor in when you start putting Optimus in the factories and you start cutting costs even more because you've got Optimus doing labor versus humans doing labor. That's going to be a major game changer. And when Tesla starts showing the production number or their bottom line numbers with Optimus out there, other manufacturers are going to be like, that's the next step. Think about just automating anything in production and manufacturing. As soon as people started doing it, everybody else started doing it because it cuts costs. So if Optimus can prove that as well, that will be the massive game changer. I lost it. Where are we at? There we are. Lang, what do you know of sodium ion battery or its progress? Honestly, I do not know. If any of you guys know about the sodium ion battery stuff, I'm not a I'm not deep into the battery knowledge. I know what's coming out, when they're coming out, what they're used for. I do not know the progress of the sodium ion though. Sunji. With all this recession talk, we need Tesla healthcare, Tesla farming, and Tesla mining to kick use off using robots, of course. Yeah. And that's what's gonna happen. Tesla's gonna put up Elon wants to put up basically Tesla Town, and I think we're going to see a lot of that. I feel sorry for Japan. Auto industry is a huge part of its economy. It is. The hard part about it, though, and just to give tough love, is if you're not willing to change, the world's going to change around you, and you're going to end up falling behind. And that, unfortunately, is what's happening. And they changed. Like they were the ones who were the leaders back in the 70s. They changed the industry and then they just got stuck and they did exactly what us US legacy automotive makers did, and they got stuck and they did not change from there. And I think unfortunately that's where they're at. um the culture of there, I love the Japanese culture. Greatest people, they're awesome, I love it. And I don't want to see that happen to their industry over there, but unfortunately if they aren't going to change to what the world is changing to, that could be their downfall. Dear William, do you ever think Tesla will improve or fix their build quality? I'm tired of the gap problems. Those still going on? I thought those were pretty much resolved. I mean, Sandy Monroe has been very critical of all of that and scrutinized it, and obviously nobody's gonna be perfect. But he has seen massive, massive improvements since the first iterations of the Model 3. And I haven't heard much in the way of issues since then. So if you have, please share because I have not heard anything of that. Mm-mm. Marty, I have a hard time thinking that anyone would buy another car if Tesla cracks FSD. So true. And self-driving car is a total game changer. Only car companies that license Tesla FSD survive. You're right. And I mean, that's why Elon said, FSD is the name of the game right now. Whoever solves that is going to win. And obviously there may be more than one player in that field. But the regulations are going to be so strict. It'll be interesting to see who actually has it. And then if you guys saw, GM is getting rid of CarPlay and they're now just going to Google. So even GM is already outsourcing third party for software stuff. It's just the natural course of things. This is how it's going to end up happening. Thinking about how legacy auto has been over the last several decades, they used to do everything in house and then they started outsourcing everything. This is why Tesla does everything in house and they're moving more in house than they were before. They're trying to be as vertical as possible with their integration. Whereas legacy auto is so used to outsourcing everything and relying on others, they're just going in that direction for everything. And now we see it with software as well. Felipe, do you believe in future Tesla will with a partnership with other EV company? It depends on the partnership. I think for FSD, they would absolutely well, not even so much partner, but they would have other EV companies license out FSD, things like that. Elon has already said he's not opposed to buying other companies if need be. I don't know if he would ever partner with them. Um, when you're the leader like Tesla is, what benefit would they have from partnering with someone else? Obviously, their first big goal was to transition the world to renewable energy. We're already moving in that direction. Having EVs be a big piece of that, we've now moved in that direction. Obviously, the EV revolution is taking over. That's not a question. So, my question would then be what benefits would Tesla have in partnering with anyone else? So it's I can see if Tesla was going to partner with someone to help the world transition, that's one thing, but we're already there. So I don't think that's going to end up happening. And even Tesla buying out a startup or something doesn't make sense. We talked about it once before when it comes to like Tesla's culture. You buy another company, you're also buying their culture. Is that culture Tesla culture? It's not, because if it was, they wouldn't have to be bought out. So, what would Tesla be buying from that company that would benefit them as well? If Tesla has the best of everything, what really would that company offer them? I don't know. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe there is something out there that I don't know of, and maybe there is a partnership that he would do. I don't see it right now. Honey, if you know me, my number is 444. If we hit that by the end of 2023, I will be a very happy man. I'm still trying to get 200 shares by the end of this year, but at the pace I'm going, unless my income doubles, which is not going to happen. Well, maybe I don't know. My social media has been doing well, so even though yeah, YouTube has been a little slower just because I stepped back a little bit. If everything takes off, that'd be awesome. I would love to have that kind of income. But, yeah, getting to 200 is gonna be hard. 100's not a problem. Again, I'll be at 100 for sure, but 200 will be tough. Karav, I am so ready for Q2. Production is able to reach 530K. Let's see if they limit Shanghai. I don't think so. Yeah, trying to figure out, I don't know if it's gonna be Q2 or Q3. We'll know more after Sunday when I think we're going to end up hitting our first 500,000 vehicle quarter. I think it's going to end up being Q3. I don't think it's going to be Q2. I think Q2 maybe 475. Either way, we're going to have record quarters for the from here on out, from as far as I can see. I can't foresee us not hitting a record quarter. Usually, if anything, it's like a Q1 just because, it's slower a little bit and they have the end of the year push and they don't do that in Q1, but we'll see. The negative margins bring this down below 200. I don't think we're going to see negative margins. I don't know where we would get that from. If you just mean negative as in down from where we were before, I don't think so, because a lot of numbers have already been factoring this in. So right now, I would believe market consensus is probably 22 to 24% vehicle margins, operating margins probably around 14%. So we'll see what the margins come in at. But negative margins, I mean, obviously Ford hit negative margins. That's rough. But I give kudos to Ford. They showed it. Like, they're showing their numbers. Hey, we're not making money with EVs, but we're still trying. Good for them. If there's any legacy auto I'm rooting for to survive, it's Ford for sure. Michael, thank you, sir. I appreciate that sticker. Appreciate all of you guys. You guys are awesome. I'm liking the hours sessions. Keep it up. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's been a nice mix. I like doing the live streams with you guys because obviously conversations are way better here. And then being able to give you guys some videos for those of you who like the shorter stuff. This has been working out nice. I'm getting a nice rhythm here. What do you think of the open letter regarding AI? Scaredy cat or pending doom warning? So, uh, I think it's one of those things where, like Elon said, AI needs to be regulated. We currently don't have that. So I think right now we're at a point where AI, I think, can just like anything else. Anytime we have technological advances, it can be very beneficial. However, it's very powerful and it can be used in a very negative way depending on who is wielding it. So at this point right now, I think it's growing so rapidly that we really need to just take a step back, put some regulations on it, and then move forward. My biggest concern is not the Terminator thing for the future. My biggest concern is that, especially when it comes to the internet, we're not going to know real from fake. And that I think is going to be the biggest problem because that is massive manipulation. We already see that going on with the news. Now we can do that from an AI standpoint. That's dangerous. So, what I had mentioned the other day on Twitter is what's going to end up coming out is somebody who's imperfect. Like these live streams here, where you could tell somebody's human because you say ums or you stutter or something happens along the way. Human faults, human error, human nature is going to be very difficult for AI to perfect because it's an imperfection. How do you perfect an imperfection? You really can't. So I think live streams like this are going to end up being very vital. Um, Doing just like in person, I think even moving away from the internet, having person to person meetings is going to be so much more important and it's going to be so much more powerful just because you're going to get that reality and you're going to know what I'm speaking about right now is truth. I'm speaking to an actual human. Obviously, down the road, humanoid robots, if they become really good, that's decades and decades. But if we can catch it now, it'll help in the future. Um, but yeah, I think that that open letter is pretty much what that talk is let's just take a step back. It's not pending doom. It's just let's um let's take a look and see what we might end up seeing and we'll just take a step back and kind of assess the situation before we just rush and bum rush forward. Mm, mm, mm. Uh, Raymond, you guys are hilarious. Partnering with another EV company almost as likely as Elon marriage proposal to Mary Barra. Speaking of AI and Elon and Mary, I don't know if any of you guys saw the picture that somebody had created with AI with Elon and Mary holding hands walking down the street. Da, da, da. Alan, you guys make me feel great, but fluke really. I have over 1,600 shares. Wow, dude, I love that. 1,600. I got 61. I'll have 62 next week. And I'm very happy about that. A lot of hard work going into that, paying attention to things. So I'm very happy with my 62. Dear William, oh, here we go. Here's your answer. There's a lot of gap issues in 2023 Model Ys due to massive rollouts. Interesting. Do you know what factory they were coming from for those? Was it Austin, Berlin? Just curious. I'm just looking for more information on this, um, because I would imagine maybe newer factories. I can see that coming from newer factories. Just I have not heard about it personally, so I love getting the info from you guys. And for you guys who are newer too, um, my stance is I'm in the middle. I'm very bullish, but for me, it's okay to hear the negative things. I mean, Elon wants to hear the negative stuff. That's how you get better is by hearing this. So to just completely write off anybody who is negative about Tesla is like it's not healthy either. So listen to it. Sometimes Tesla Q is on the whole other end of the spectrum and nothing is good to them. But when you hear negative stuff, take a step back and actually listen to it because there could be, at least a grain of truth in it to necessitate paying attention to. Tim, you'll have over 1,200 shares in 2025 once Tesla splits. I don't know. I think if we split in 2025, it'll probably be a 3-to-1 split again. That's my guess. Eric, Tim, just a quick thanks for encouragement. I closed this month successfully for the third month in a row, hitting my $25 per day. Nice. Nice. Yes. $25 per day is what I do. Actually, I did drop it down to 20 just because I'll bump it back up when we go to if we drop down below 150, I'll bump that back up. I'm still trying to get myself to 10% cash. I'm at 9.5% cash right now. And if I end up going over 10%, then maybe I'll end up bumping it up before then. Marty, this is a great point. Who cares about gap issues if FSD works? You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I mean, that's way more important than a gap issue. Although quality of construction would be nice to have as well. But yeah. When do you think we will hear about Tesla using Dojo? December. I think they're already starting to do a little bit of it, but I think December of this year we'll end up hearing a lot more about that. Yeah, Sunji, exactly. AI won't know how to be human stupid. You're so right. That's exactly what it is. And ironically, in the tweet that I wrote in response about that, I had autocorrected, and instead of putting now, it was nod. And like that's exactly it right there. An error like that a human doesn't catch when they're typing and sending it out, that's something that AI is not going to have because they're going to know how to do things perfectly. And even if they get to that point where they're getting better, because like now you can sort of tell when it's AI, even when it gets better, it's going to be perfect. Humans aren't perfect. And that's what's going to end up setting us apart is that imperfection. Eric, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Yeah, AI generated videos are now so realistic, no longer tell previous CGI. So I don't know if you guys have seen too, like a lot of the CG or a lot of the AI stuff now with voice, being able to take someone else's voice and throw it on top of somebody else's face is incredible. Like you can have Joe Biden come out and have somebody else have Joe Biden do a full speech and it's not him. That to me that's why I said that's the scary part is not knowing truth from what's fake. Yeah, Miguel. See, the human scientists tried out the atom bomb with the incineration, the entire atmosphere on detonation being a real potential scenario, and they will stop on the brink of AI. No, they won't. You're right, they won't. And that's why regulations are so important. My fear, not to go tinfoil hat on you guys, but how many of you fully trust the government and trust that they're going to use AI in a very beneficial and positive way for everyone? Personally, I can't see that happening. So if the government isn't careful with the regulations in doing this, it could run away from them. I mean, like you said, look at the A bomb. Obviously, lots of bad things happened, and then at that point, we did it. We dropped it on Japan. Obviously, bad stuff happened. We're like, okay, we now recognize the error of our ways. That is not something we want to do. Yet we all still have these nukes out there. So if we've got that problem, what happens when we have that big oopsie when it comes to AI? Are we going to be able to recover from it? That is a scary scenario. And so I think that's one of the things why we need to slow down. DCA, yeah. I knew what you meant, Eric. I knew what you meant, DCA. And again, there's that human error, DTC. Yep. AI wouldn't make that mistake. Sunshi, oh, this is good info. Got my Model Y Performance from Fremont a month ago and had some paint and panel issues dropping off the car on Tuesday with Tesla. So that's actually good info because I would think Fremont, obviously, of all places, would be good at it because they've been doing it longer than anybody else. So that's good feedback. I think Fremont will always have issues. The place is cursed with panel gaps. The place is cursed with legacy auto. Just, ugh. Yeah. Mike, are you looking to hold Tesla stock beyond 2030? Yes. For me, I don't have a time frame on it specifically. I don't plan on selling. I don't have any sell plans at all. If Tesla does dividends, I'll never sell. I'll just keep on buying and let the dividends pay. Um, but when it comes to any time of selling, to me, it would be about as of right now, and who knows what's going to happen in the future. Optimus is basically like top tier. That is like what their ultimate goal at the moment would be Optimus. And if we've got Optimus out there cranking out, millions and millions of units a quarter, which yes, that is basically Elon's plan and totally feasible. He's thinking 100 million easily. So if that is feasible, then I think at that point, is that the top of the S curve? Eh, I don't know. I mean, if I'm going to sell anything ever, it would be because we're at the top of an S curve, but I'm buying it for generational wealth. And if by the time we get to that point, I think we still have 20 to 30 years of growth ahead of us, not going to sell. I'll just pass my stock to my son and let it go from there. Um, so yeah, definitely looking to hold beyond 2030 and don't even know what I'm going to do with it at that point. Obviously, if there's some sort of major collapse before then, and the company itself implodes, that'll change things. But as of right now, I'm holding long. Um, let's see. Miguel, exactly. Wait, we will start. We will be starting to value humans stupid. Like I don't want to put it that way. But even the smartest people that are out there are still human and make mistakes. So I don't want to say that stupid is now going to be it, like not going like the route of idiocracy, as scary as that potential is that's out there. I don't think that is where we're going to go, but just somebody coming out here and not being a perfect human, I think is going to be the best. That is what's really going to show what is out there. And AI is going to end up being predictable. So being an unpredictable human, I think is going to help as well. Ian, good evening, sir. Uh, England, Tesla, and Bitcoin, biggest asymmetric bets of our generation. Yeah. So cryptocurrency, a lot of people have been talking lately also about when it comes to these bank failures and collapses. I was talking to my dad. I don't think we're going to have a massive bank collapse, but obviously some have gone down. And a lot of the ones that went down were because they took a lot of risks when it came to um, some very volatile stocks, high growth stocks and assets. So that's what ended up causing those to go down. So I think a hedge against a lot of that could end up being cryptocurrency. We heard the rumors about what was it? India, Russia, China, Brazil. I want to say there was another country, and I don't know what it was. All looking to come together and create their own currency to combat the dollar. So I don't know how true that is. I don't know anything on that. If you guys know, let me know. But I think cryptocurrency is going to play a role in the future. And I think it's going to play a significant role. So I definitely want to have at least some right now because I don't know what's going to happen. But I have right now, I have 11% of my portfolio is in cryptocurrency. Yep, Hanif, you're right. Fremont plant was originally named the Numi plant, co-owned by GM and Toyota. What a combo. Yeah. And they were the leaders in their day and just not anymore. I mean, Toyota technically still is, but I have a feeling this is the year that we see the Corolla finally lose its handle of the top selling vehicle. Ian, is Trump still your president as he seems to be on our screens in England every day? No, but he got indicted today. So there's a lot of people talking about that. Um, you know, I don't. I don't get a lot of. I try not to go too political on too many things because I'm more centrist. I think both sides of the spectrum, especially the more extreme you get, are just absolutely ridiculous. One of the things I point out to a lot of people is when you look at the actual voter turnout and the fact that like at best you're looking at like 60% turnout, and everybody's like, oh well, I won the majority of the votes because I got 52%. I'm like, yeah, you got the majority of the people who voted, but you have to remember that 40% of the people didn't vote because they're sick of your crap. And that's one thing that gets ignored is the fact that the majority is silent and didn't vote because they didn't want it. Sunchi, I like this channel. Got my sub, brother. Cheers. Thank you. I appreciate that. I do. You guys are awesome. I love all of you guys. And I've said it before, and I'll keep on saying it. You guys are the heart and soul of this community. You have such great insight and input onto so many things. It's what helps make me better because I listen to a lot of you guys on all ends of the spectrum, and it definitely helps a lot. WMDB, what Fisker said about their top tier model has a range above 400 miles. I didn't even see that, but Fisker, man, they're in trouble. I mean, actually, a lot of the startups are in trouble. Nikola just obviously Nikola was already in trouble to begin with, but they just put up for another round um, of money because they can't get by. And think about the fact that if right now, when the market is doing better, obviously we've seen a nice run to start this year off, 2 quarters in a row that were positive in the S&P. If we have seen that already and these companies are in financial disarray, what's going to happen when we get into a recession? They're porked. They have no chance. So that's why I think what ends up happening, and you see it a lot of times in recessions, is a lot of companies like that who are startups who had great intentions, had great ideas, have great products, but they don't have the money yet because of the timing of whatever happened. You see their value go down significantly. When their value goes down significantly, the good companies who do have the money go in and scoop them up. So while we were talking about Tesla not going out and buying anybody, I don't think that's going to end up happening. I don't see them benefiting from any of that. But we may see somebody like a Legacy Auto doing that. Maybe GM, despite the fact that they're in major debt, maybe they decide to invest in a company like Fisker if they take a massive beating. Things like that could end up happening. Or maybe we end up seeing something completely wild where Apple goes out and buys one of these companies. Nvidia, maybe they go out and buy one. Maybe Google goes out and buys one of these companies if we get into a recession and these companies are in dire straits. It's possible. Totally is. Marty, smart man. I don't watch the news, so I never see Trump. I don't watch. At work, we're forced to watch the news, so I have no choice but to see it there. Otherwise, my recommendation to you guys is turn the TV off. Unless you're watching TV for something that's going to actually benefit you, just turn it off. Like, I veg, I'll watch, I've got my shows that I watch, Mandalorian. You guys can let me know shows you watch. I love Mandalorians, anything Star Wars related, Marvel related, I love. What else was I just watching recently? What show was just on? Oh, Stranger Things. I finally got Netflix. So I was watching that. So little things like that, like entertainment's good. I'm not saying, don't be entertained, but if you guys are going just vegging on TV, just mindlessly droning out there, it's like being on your phone and just doom scrolling. Try to do something that's beneficial for you. I always ask myself the question, is this benefiting me and my life in some way? And sometimes sitting down and vegging out to just let your mind go to nowhere is beneficial. And yeah, absolutely do that. But if you find yourself doing that a lot and you're not getting anything from it, that's why, you guys who follow me on my other social media platforms, I do videos while I'm on the toilet. So it's like if I can do something productive during my day, I'll do it. Like Elon, he tweets all the time while he's on the can. So, if you guys can do something like that, I try to make my life as worthwhile as possible and get everything I can out of every minute. Cassidy, what do you think of Palantir for AI play? I just heard about that. Somebody had mentioned, was it Ezer? I don't know. Somebody over on Twitter had mentioned about how Palantir is now being spoken about as an AI company. They're not wrong. I mean, think about going into what they do when it comes to like the cybersecurity and all of that stuff. AI going into that to be able to combat AI, that's significant. And I think Palantir is going to be up that road. I don't know enough about Palantir and their AI side of things, but I do own Palantir as a stock. And I have a feeling they're going to do very well over the next few years when that all comes to fruition, especially considering Palantir wasn't planned to be profitable until 2025 and they hit it this year. That's big. Hanif, I don't like Lucid having an electric car company supported by Saudi oil seems wrong. My take on that is the Saudis aren't stupid. They see that the world is transitioning over to renewable energy. They can't stop that. As big as they are, they can't stop it. They already know it. So they're trying to do their best to invest in the future in that while still holding onto their oil money. Oil is always going to be here. We are always going to need oil for something. But when it comes to the Oil for transportation needs, that's going to go away. And obviously, that's a massive, massive piece. Then you start getting into home heating oil. That'll end up going away as well in the future. So I think personally, they are starting to come out and invest in that side of the world and that side of technology to basically hedge themselves. Dominic, do you think we will hit type 1 civilization on the Kardashev scale in our lifetime with the acceleration of technology? Depends on your lifetime. I don't know. I mean, I'm 43. So let's say I make it to 80, my 80s, that's another 40 years. It's possible that we get there. Technology moves so fast, and you have to remember that like everything is a step grade up. So when we had the radio come out, when you're looking at how fast technology moves, it's about how quickly does information travel. That's really what it comes down to. So when you had just newspapers, news traveled slower. Now you had the radio. Ooh, you can hit more people all at once with the radio. Now we've got TV. That made it even faster. Internet, that sped it up even more. AI is going to take that next big step forward when it comes to the acceleration of information travel. So who knows what's going to happen after AI? I truly don't know. I mean, nobody thought about internet or AI, you know, 20 years before they came out. I mean, it was maybe like a blip on someone's radar. So it's totally possible. Because it's an exponential growth when it comes to technology. So it is possible. Brian, yes, slap that thumbs up. Thank you, sir. And I had mentioned it before. So anybody who just jumped on here, I will be on with Brian on Sunday morning. Brian, I don't know what time we're starting. If you want to throw it in the comments here, let us know what time we're starting on Sunday so everybody will know. Apple should scoop up Fisker. Yeah. That may end up happening. I don't know if Apple wants to get into it or if they're just going to buy them and just sort of do what Amazon was going to do with Rivian and just kind of support them financially and let them do their thing. I don't know. Cassie, that's my only two stock other than Tesla in my portfolio. Nice. Yeah, I've been whittling down on mine, and if we do get into a bull run, I'll probably thin out of a couple of more. So I just want to kind of narrow things down in my portfolio. But there's a few things that I've been trying to get into just for some returns. I mean, the market could go any direction. Talking about Mandalorian, how about Pedro Pascal and Last of Us? I have not watched any of The Last of Us. I've seen memes like crazy from it, but I have not watched any of that show yet. I don't have a lot of time. Like usually, if I'm watching an episode like Mandalorian, it may take me 2 or 3 nights to watch a full episode just because I don't have a lot of time. Brian, yeah, I'd like more oil giants getting in on clean tech. I agree. I think unfortunately the oil giants are very much like legacy auto, sadly, and they're so stuck in their way, they have to undermine themselves in order to move forward. It's going to be tough. Hey, Ian, yeah, I love when Tesla goes up 6% on 5 times leverage. Football tomorrow. The flowers are blossoming here in England and everything's looking good. Awesome. I love it. I love it. Have a great weekend, my friend. Brian, 8:40 a.m. Is that 8:40 a.m. my time or your time? Oh, and there it is, Pacific, 8:40 a.m. Pacific. So that would be 11:40 a.m. my time. Do you think it's going to be out that don't think it's going to be out earlier than that? I thought it'd be out earlier than that. I think the numbers generally drop at noon Eastern time. I'll take a look. I think last time they dropped around 11 a.m. I could be wrong. I know it was later this time. I thought it was between 11 and 12. So you let me know. My son's game is, I think, at 12:30. I'll let you know for sure. But I've got a 2.5 hour drive. So after AI, a new Stone Age, we're all going to be living in the desert just trying to hide from AI. Yeah, does anyone know in the chat when they dropped this last time, the numbers? I'm pretty sure it was like 11 o'clock, and it could be anytime. I'm personally think it's going to be between 10 and 12 is when I think it's going to end up dropping. Honey, best rules ever. This is not financial advice, but they're good rules to live by. Buy Tesla stock. Rule number 2, buy Tesla stock during a dip. Rule number 3, keep buying Tesla stock. Rule number 4, hold. Rule number 5, retire. Good rules right there. I appreciate those. Absolutely. Again, not financial advice, but that is what I am doing. Let's see what else we got. I'm going to jump off of here in a minute, but we'll try to get some finalized information about this weekend for you guys if Brian and I can figure it out. If not, no big deal. I'll post it on Twitter. I'll post it on my channel as well to let you guys know when we're going to be hopping on Sunday. Jordan Peterson. I like Jordan Peterson. Some of his stuff I like. It's pretty good. Oh, Lou, do you think Lordstown is a good long shot, seeing as Foxconn bought part of their plant? I don't know, Lordstown. I keep forgetting about Lordstown as one of those startups. There's so many other like them, Canoe. It's one of those things where if you go back in time, and even when ICE vehicles started, there were so many companies out there that when you first start that revolution and that disruption, there's a lot of players that are out there. Natural course of things, they're all going to, if they don't find their niche, they're going to get worked out. Some are going to be the heavy hitters. Some are going to be the Fords and GMs. Some are going to find their niche. And some are going to be like those, high-end vehicles. You're going to have their Mercedes, those BMWs. You'll find your very, niche area vehicles that are going to do well in that specific area. And then you end up having a lot of the other ones that either get bought out or they go to the wayside. They don't end up getting that following that they were hoping for. They don't find that X factor that makes them turn big. And I think that's what we're going to end up happening with the EV revolution and a lot of these startups. Yeah, and if you guys take a look at any of the stocks, like from those startups, they're just taking absolute beatings, just bloodbaths for all of them. I mean, Lucid's going to have a hard time because they were touted so highly. I mean, the Saudis buying into them. I don't know how long the Saudis are going to hold. I don't know how long the Saudis are going to keep on dumping money into them, because if they're not going to perform, that's going to be a problem. I know Elon obviously speaks to the Saudis. He's friends with them, so maybe he gets a partnership with them. I don't know. But Lucid could end up being one of the ones where if the Saudis don't end up buying in, that could be one where, hey, they're out there. Maybe NVIDIA invests into them. Maybe a bigger company, maybe Google invests into them. I think, Rivian and Lucid are going to be the two that are probably going to be prime for buyouts if we get into a recession and they don't end up finding their own strong foothold to be able to do what they want. I see. Yeah, Saudi should have bought Tesla stock for sure. And so should have Warren Buffett and a lot of other people. Hey, this is one of the things I look at when you're an investor on the level that most of us are at is, when we're looking at these, sorry, I was reading Brian's message. So, when we're looking at things like this and where we're at, totally lost my train of thought. Brian, you got me. You got me here. Oh man, it's getting late. Yeah, I've had a rough week. Brian, looks like numbers expected noon Eastern Sunday. Let's plan for 20. Easter. Oh, Eastern. I was thinking Easter Sunday because that is coming up also. Looks like noon Eastern Sunday. We're going to start 20 to 30 minutes prior. So you want to start. So 11:30, 11:40 on Sunday is what we're going to do Eastern time. So I can do that, Brian. So, and that'd be fine, because if my kid's game starts at 12:30, I'll take a look at that for sure. I can stay until 12:15. So by then we'll at least be able to chat and discuss it also. So again, I'll share with you guys specific times when Brian gets it all out there, but looks like 11:30-ish Eastern time, we will be starting on Sunday. Perfect. Thank you. Oh yeah, Neo, yeah, not performing the last few months. They had a nice little bump the last couple of days. This past week, they dipped down. They've been hovering around that $10 mark for a while. My cost basis is $30 on them. I'm not too concerned. I'm not going to buy more Neo. I think China's going to do very well. I think their economy right now was going through what we saw here in the US in 2008, 2009. So I think China's going to have a strong decade once they come out of this. And I think they're going to do very well. But I'm going to wait till we see the global correction happen before I buy into any other stocks other than Tesla right now. Smash that like button. Thank you, Mike. And on that smashing of the like button, I will be getting off right now. I am going to be going to bed. I am taking my son and his friend to the Yankee game tomorrow. So I have a long day ahead of me tomorrow of getting some things done and having a fun time. It's supposed to rain, so maybe it gets rained out, maybe not. Either way, it's going to be an adventure, going to be a good time. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate all of this. Love it. And we will catch you guys on Sunday on Brian's channel, My Tesla Weekend, 11:30 Eastern time. See you guys then.